Hello, everybody. CB Chancellor here, and welcome to another episode of Bullseye Radio on TV. Yes, as you've heard, it's Christmas time, and it's I Love Christmas. The man himself on the phone, Tommy James. Tommy, CB, how's my Buckeye brother doing?
Well, how are you? Great to talk with you.
It's always great when we have you. We know what time of year it is, and this is, you and I both know this is our favorite time of year.
Yes, absolutely. I love Christmas.
We certainly do. We love it here at Bullseye. So, got so much to talk about, Tommy, and I'm always apologizing to you for never having enough time. And can you believe it? This is a third anniversary having Tommy James' I Love Christmas.
Isn't that something? You know, last year we released it in vinyl, too, for the first time.
That's right. And that was a talking point on the show. And
it's amazing. I can't believe the response to it. It really has been amazing.
I can believe it, because those of us that remember the album jackets and the smell of the vinyl, that's all you need to take you back. So let's
right.
So some other stuff I want to talk to you about, some new stuff. But then we'll obviously get back to everything else we want to talk about. Let me start out, if I can, bring us up to date. First of all, when I talked to you off the air, I didn't remember to ask you this. Did you just get back from Europe?
No, we weren't in Europe. We were asked to go. We didn't go back. We didn't go to Europe this year. We have been all over North America this year, but not Europe.
Okay, because I was wondering, because I was looking at your website, and by the way, that's going to pop up magically on the screen. All you have to do is type in Tommy James. It'll be right there, the official website. Of course, Tommy's on Facebook and on Twitter and on anywhere you can get a hold of Tommy. But I was looking at your concert schedule, and I saw that you were just recently. Where were you, Tommy? I'm looking for November 15th.
A number of places.
Well,
yes.
You were a ton of places, really. I'm not kidding. Tommy has been all over the country again. Oh, you were supposed to be in Joliet, Illinois, obviously, just outside of Chicago.
We were. It was a great gig.
And of course, speaking of Chicago, shout out to all of our fans there in Chicago. Hope you got to see Tommy there. Of course, we got a lot of rock and rollers we've had on the show from the Chicago area, the Buckinghams and all the guys, all the Chicago guys.
It's a great rock and roll town.
It really, really is.
And the fans are just super, and they're very loyal, and I love going to Chicago.
Well, I tell you, of course, last time I talked to you, this is funny, because I'm looking, and I'm remembering back to last year's show, I was hoping to be out in Vegas in February. That really kicked off your concert season at the Golden Nugget. Didn't make that, of course.
We'll be back again next year. I can't remember the date, but it's funny. We're at the Golden Nugget. We're going to be there fairly regularly out in Vegas.
Well, you were back there in July, too.
Yeah, and we were, it just has become sort of a really nice little routine. We love playing Vegas, and the Golden Nugget is a great room to play, very intimate room, and the fans have a good time. So, love going there. And
we love that part of town. The Fremont District is the place to be in Vegas.
Yes,
so folks, keep on the schedule. Of course, Tommy, my luck would be I'm going to be out there in about a week.
Oh yeah, well that figures. Well, we'll hook up.
We'll hook up.
Well, eventually we'll hook up.
So anyway, let's go to something that we've talked about just on the surfaces in the past, but there's new information, I'm sure. And we're talking, of course, the movie featuring the book, Me, the Mob, and the Music. There's been some updates on that.
Sure. Well, the screenplay is being written as we speak by Matthew Stone, who's a terrific screenplay writer. And I got to tell you something. I have such respect for these guys. I'm getting an amazing education in the movie business. You know, it's so unlike the record business where you write a song and you can't wait to get in the studio and you can't wait to get it out in front of the fans. With a movie, it can take, 5, 6, 8, maybe 10 years. So you better really be in love with the project, number one. And number two, the book is so different from the screenplay because the screenplay really is the movie on paper. All the camera moves and all the dialogue. The story is told not in a narrative like the book, but with actual dialogue, scenes. And it's so very different from the book, and you're very lucky if you get somebody who's doing the screenplay who really is tuned into the story. And we are very lucky with Matt Stone Matthew Stone, not the fellow who does South Park.
Right.
Matthew Stone, who is just such a terrific screenplay writer, and he and I have sat down literally over a table and banged this thing out, the story out in great detail, because there's several things that are going to be in the movie that weren't in the book. So
oh, wow.
Really interesting.
And that was, I'm so glad you brought that up, Tommy, because and you're, like you say, you're getting an education, and I'm getting the education through you, passing on this stuff. But I've always wondered when people have a great book, true story, such as yours is, then it becomes a movie. As you say, you're talking years. The frustration level, I think, would just push me over the edge because I think
Well,
I'm
you know,
ADD.
you got to be patient. I
gotta
am
be.
amazed by our producer, Barbara DeFina, who produced Goodfellas.
Yes.
Produced Casino and.
What a find. What a find to have Barbara DeFino on
Yes,
board.
she's so great. But she is so patient.
Yep.
And you know, she tends to understate everything. Totally unlike the record business where everything is yeah. You know, she just understates everything, and so you know you're getting the straight dope. There's no hype. But I don't ever want to play poker or chess with this gal because she is, first of all, she sees everything. You know, it's just like she has eyes in the back of her head. She gets every little nuance from every direction. And then she is so good at the business of making movies. And she has her emotions so under control because you have to in that business. You
Right.
know? A record guy would go nuts in the movie business because you know, there's no hype. It's actual numbers. It's a real business, and so you really have to be careful. And like I said, I never want to play poker with this gal.
Well, you know, you get a great point because there's not many artists that make that transition, number one, correct?
Well, that's true enough.
To go from music to movies. But you've got the business acumen and the personality, obviously, to do it. So we're all looking forward to that coming out. The other thing I was going to ask you about that, Tommy, many times, of course, with you being involved, I think is going to be very helpful to this, obviously. A lot of times the book and the movies don't really pair up, and people are left wondering, which is really the real version?
Sure.
So do you feel comfortable that obviously the book is going to be...
Yes, indeed. Well, you know, a lot of times they'll take liberties with the story to try
Yes.
to create a little more drama.
Exactly where I was heading.
You know, and so, well, with this you basically don't have to do that.
It's true.
If anything, we understated things.
Right.
And but there are other little stories that we didn't have time for in the book that we're going to do in the movie. Little things that happen with, and the thing to remember is that this is about real people.
Yes.
They're real human beings that actually lived, and so the people we talk about in the radio business and in the distributors and the promo guys, they're all real people. So you know, it's really fun, but you want to get it right because you don't want to really insult anybody who doesn't deserve insulting. You know.
Exactly.
So
we're all looking forward to that. Now, this is too early stages to be talking about casting, correct?
yeah, the casting will be the next step after you have the screenplay is the director,
Right.
and then the casting after that. So we're probably looking 18 months, 2 years.
All right.
Anyway. Yeah, it's like I say, you have to really love a project to hang in there with it.
Well, I'm not going to put you on the spot because these things, can change in moments.
Right.
So without saying, do you have somebody in your mind to play you?
Well, the thing of it is, I'm the worst one to ask. Really, it's like looking in a mirror. I really don't know who the best one would be. This is one decision I'm going to have to leave
Right.
for the grown-ups, because I don't know. Morris Levy is a very interesting character because the Morris Levy character, he's the head of Roulette Records. He's
Right.
sort of, this is sort of a left-handed father-son relationship.
Exactly.
Abusive father-son relationship. And so that's another one. That I have a lot of ideas, but, as they're casting, one of the things you have to decide about the main characters is, are they bankable? That means, do they have what they call marquee value? Are they is it an actor that's famous enough to draw a box office? And secondly, are they new enough to still be scary? Because Morris Levy is the character is a very scary character, and so are the mob guys in the movie. And so if you have people that they've seen 10,000 times, nobody's afraid of them.
Great point. Or somebody it's typecast as a jolly old
Right.
grandfather type. It's hard for people to buy into it. Yeah.
So you got to have
Yep.
that hybrid, that combination of both, where they're new enough to be, so they haven't been, everywhere. You haven't seen them everywhere, but yet at the same time they have box office appeal. So, it's tough finding these characters.
Well, if they're looking for an unknown Tommy, I think I told you at earlier interviews,
Yeah.
back in my high school days, with my hair that I had, a good bit of it, people did think I looked like you.
Well,
Of course,
there you go.
but
Right
now,
there. I mean,
but now we fast forward many years older. Now I probably look more like Morris Levy, so I could be that
put a wig
surprised.
on, yeah.
I could be Morris Levy.
That's right. Right. Well, I'll probably end up being a bartender or something. Maybe an elevator operator or something.
Great point. You will have a cameo part, I would hope. in
Oh,
this.
I'll make them do
Or
it.
several. You could be several people in this.
We're doing an album now too.
Let's talk about that right now.
Yeah, we're in the studio now doing a new album called Acoustitronics.
Okay.
And it's an interesting combination of acoustic guitars, and not just guitars. It's not Michael rode the boat ashore. It's a real heavy on the rhythm thing, but it's acoustic instruments. We're trying to use all acoustic instruments, acoustic pianos, acoustic guitars, where we would normally use electric. And it's coming out really neat. And as a matter of fact, two of the songs that are on the album are going to be in the movie. And one of them is a brand new version of I Think We're Alone Now that's slow and acoustic and dreamy, very unlike the original record. And it's going to be used as the closing credits. And it's interesting because the very last scene of the movie, Morris Levy dies, and we're alone. And so the song,
Wow.
has a whole different meaning than the original teenage love song.
Exactly.
Back in the 60s. So, and it's
Very,
amazing
very
how
cool.
the lyrics hold up too. It can be used both ways. And then the second one is a new song called "Distant Thunder." That is going to be. It's going to be actually probably the first single from the album, and it's going to be in the movie as well. It was the last song that Morris Levy and I actually agreed on that we were going to record, and it never got made.
Holy smokes.
This album.
So, Tommy, obviously the album will be out long before the movie. Is there any target
The
date
album
on
will
that?
be out probably about April of 06 or of 16.
2016. So there you go, folks. Something to look forward to. New Tommy James stuff coming out in the spring, which is right about the time you're back on the road again.
That's right.
So
That's exactly right. Well, we try to time it all together.
Yeah.
It's hard to do, but we do it. Yeah, we'll be out on tour again this year, and you come to the website, you can see where we're performing, and so we'd like to see everybody.
And I want to again, and this will be appearing on the screen, Tommy James's website. Encourage everybody to go there. Just type in Tommy James, go to the home website. Music bio, the store, the photos, the tours, the feedback. Tommy, I think it's so cool that you actually take feedback from your fans, and I'm impressed that you do Facebook and Twitter, because I do neither.
It's the greatest window on the world there is.
Yep.
I mean, you want to stay. The whole idea is stay in touch with the fans.
Yes, absolutely.
The internet has so drastically changed all of our lives that even in the music business, the delivery system is so different than it used to be. That the other day, it's a funny story. We go up to Orchard, the server for all this stuff in New York, and they serve iTunes and Pandora and all the rest of them. And so we go up, and first of all, there's not one person under 30 or over 30.
Oh,
Not
no
one
kidding.
person over 30. And usually when you go into music places, the old record companies or publishing companies in the old days, there was always, the joint was jumping, there was music playing everywhere, everything was going on, phones are ringing. Go up there, it's dead quiet.
Corporate-like? Corporate atmosphere?
And rows of computers.
Oh, no.
and little cubbyhole box office. It looks like an insurance company. And if they want to talk to each other, these kids, they don't get up and walk 4 feet over to the guy's office. They
text.
They email each other.
They do.
Text each other.
Now, look, I love you kids out there, but this just drives me crazy. I mean, in the old days, if I didn't know who Tommy was, if we're at a bus stop, perfect stranger, within 30 seconds, hey, what's going on, man, da-da-da-da. I literally have watched couples sit at the dinner table together and text each other. Stop it,
Text
please.
each other,
Just
that's
stop
right.
it, all right? There is a thing that's of
romantic
value.
candlelight, and then they text.
Candlelight texting.
The funny part is, though, that, it's like, but this is the most powerful Orchard is one of the most powerful voices globally, music services.
Yep.
And it doesn't get any bigger than that. And it was just such an amazingly different environment than what it used to be.
Well, see, and that's a great thing that we've talked in the past. You have a mind for the engineering, for the business part of it, all aspects, even creating new music, different sounds. And I think that's what keeps you relevant with the kids.
Thank you.
I really do. I think they sense that when they meet you, get a chance to talk to you.
I think touchability is so important
Yes.
within artists and the fans now,
I
like
think so.
never before. They come. You have pictures all over Facebook and Twitter, and they can see what you're doing and keep people involved in what you're doing. It's not like you put out an album every 4 months, and then you go on TV. And it's a constant updating,
Right.
a constant staying in touch with the fans, and I actually love it. I love it doing it that way. It always seemed very unnatural doing it before, but honestly, I love the whole new way of doing things, and
Well, you're the man for it.
it pay off.
Excuse me, Tommy, I want to mention something, too. This is really cool. Of course, this is off Wikipedia, and I knew this about you. In the 70s, you spent some time in Nashville with some of the top Nashville musicians, wrote songs that made them famous in many cases. To date, over 300 musicians have recorded versions of James's music. But I got to tell you, just had an interview with somebody very recently, the group Exile, Marlon Hargis.
I produced their first record.
There you go. What a cool guy he was. Just a great guest. Really enjoyed talking about it. But he credited
Absolutely,
you.
and of course, Jimmy Stokely, who's passed away,
Yes.
was the lead singer, and we
That's
did
right.
a great record together called Church Street Soul Revival that it was out on Columbia way back in 1970, and they were called the Exiles then. And
That's right, with an S.
Of course,
Yep.
Exile. And they ended up being one of the biggest country acts around.
Absolutely, and I just can't tell you how much I enjoyed talking to Marlon. He was such a cool guest. But he said something. I just thought, I can't wait till I talk to Tommy, because somehow your name came up, obviously, through all that. He says, he goes, Tommy James has to be one of the most underrated musicians and songwriters out there, because it just raved about you, what it was to be around you guys and to work.
Nice.
And I said, it's funny because we think of you as we think of you. We're crazy about you. Your fans are everywhere in the world. But when you look at today's world and you look at, well, I'm going to bring this up because I think it's okay with you.
Go ahead.
I know you recently, I believe it was back in April, was at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Doing the induction. Of course, it was Crimson and Clover, Joan Jett, Miley Cyrus. So you can go to Tommy's site.
Steve Grow.
And Steve Grow, exactly.
Yeah.
So you can go and find that on YouTube.
Well, you know
anyway.
something? What happened was, of course, Joan was being inducted
Yep.
or induced, as they say.
Induced.
And she asked me if I would perform with her, and I did, and I think it's great. I think her cover of Crimson and Clover was very important, came out at the right moment, but it was one of her big records, and so I said sure, it'd be fun. So anyway. What was so amazing is that then Miley Cyrus got into the act and came up, and she sang background, and Steve Grow, of course, from Nirvana and
Yep.
Foo Fighters, and he was. So we had literally four generations of rock and rollers singing Crimson and Clover at the same time.
Very cool. Miley was a little bit
Amazing
interesting.
moment.
Yeah, I enjoyed Miley's outfit, obviously, but she was interesting on stage. So I encourage you folks to go to YouTube and check this out. So I'm going to make this.
Real good right in the middle of the song.
She moved
and,
it.
and I swallowed and I cleared my throat and started.
Tommy, you were the perfect professional. You didn't miss a beat. You didn't get distracted. You just kept it going, man. Hey, I got to say this, though, and we've spoken about this on Bullseye, and, of course, John Michaels, the owner, he's great. He's given me his blessing to speak on matters that are close to the heart.
Sure.
One of the great insults in music, and of course I'm from Ohio, as Tommy is, and I've actually been to the Hall of Fame, and it only took Cleveland about 20 years to build it after they were given awarded it, but they finally got it up. It's a great place to go. But what catastrophe this has turned out to be as far as induction of groups, to the point where I went on their website. I was going to blast them, and we've had many guests on this show absolutely deserve it, as obviously does Tommy James and the Shondells. So when you go onto the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame site, they even had a disclaimer on there, and it's been a while since I've been on there, telling people we're not responsible for the induction part. They actually refer you to an office, some business office, Avenue of the Americas in New York, which, by the way, don't have a website, don't have an email address, which obviously they would get blown up. The whole thing would just poof in seconds. So you have to write them a letter.
Half the fun is getting upset that your favorite act isn't in there.
Yeah.
You know, and then when they do get in, it's such a sigh of relief. I try to be magnanimous about it,
And you are.
the attitude, and say, you know, whenever it's our turn, we'll go. And I think it's a little unseemly when you try to promote yourself into the Hall of Fame.
Well, I think that's what your
my
fans.
Midwest upbringing.
Well, yours and mine, but you know what? That's what your fans are there for.
Yes,
and
well,
the
that's
people
true.
around you, and that's why I'm really reaching
That's
out to the
true.
Tommy James fans worldwide. It's beyond an insult. This is so ridiculous. And if you go into the blogs, by the way, that it's mentioned all over the place how there's just craziness that Tommy James isn't in there with the Shondells.
Well, you know,
So-
they do make a distinction between pop and rock, and that is the truth. I don't get it quite, but that's the distinction.
Well, you know, and that would be suggesting labeling you as a pop group, which really, if that mistake was made 40 years ago, clearly that was a mistake. And, you know, I mean, you can tag any genre of music, whatever you want, but Tommy James is relevant for 40 years. Oh, by the way,
Well, that's very kind of you to say.
Well, it's true. And by the way, congratulations. This is the 40th. I believe your T-shirt is out online. If you go to the Tommy James store, you get the 40th anniversary T-shirt, correct?
Well, actually, do you know next year is going to be 50?
Holy smokes, I'm got old news here. 50 years.
16.
Let me think
It's
this.
going to be the 50th year.
Where my head? Because 65, 66, yes. Bad math, CB. So
Unbelievable, isn't it?
2016 would be.
Thought we'd be doing this for 50.
Nobody, I think, back in the day,
didn't.
Tommy. So I'm searching around my notes because I know beyond the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, you've been, I'm not going to have to find it because I know this, you've been in, you're in the Michigan Hall of Fame,
Yes.
which I think is cool.
We
No,
only
it's,
have another 49 states to go.
well, by God, we're going to get you at all 50, and certainly Ohio better, being a native Ohioan, you better be in that one.
That's
But
very-
so you are gracious about this. I'm probably more insulted than you, but
Well,
you know,
something? Look, truthfully, I thank the good Lord and the fans for the kind of longevity we've had.
yes.
We have had an amazing ride, and you know, we're still riding. And I go out there and I look at our concert crowd now. I literally see 3 generations of people.
Isn't that crazy, Tommy? We've
Blows me
talked
away.
about that. We've talked about that with past guests, that, you know, maybe 10 years after you see the same people, yeah, they're there for you, and then 20 years, all of a sudden the kids are showing up,
Yes.
and now the
And the
grandkids,
grandkids.
now the grandkids.
And I'm just amazed by it. And you know, country acts used to do that. They'd have these generational,
Yes.
almost little industries of these country acts. Dolly Parton's like that.
Exactly. Great call.
And
exactly.
so I'm very thankful for that, because rock and roll is such a tumultuous industry. It's so crazy. You know, a month is an eternity in this business, and so to be doing it for this long, I just am very, very thankful, and I mean that sincerely.
Well deserved. Now, Inside Tracks still going on?
Yes, indeed. We haven't done it in a few. Our video guy passed away.
Oh, sorry to hear that, Tommy.
And Lionel Martinez. So we're kind of regrouping, and we'll have that up and running again soon. But the first 7 episodes are up on YouTube.
There you go.
And so anyway, we've got a lot on our plate right now.
Really do. Between the movie, the book is still doing well. Obviously, when I mentioned the book, Me, the Mob, and the Music, The Life and Times of Tommy James and the Shondells, folks. I'm trying to remember how many pages. I think it's like 250-something or whatever. It's not a long read, and it's one of those books, if you get interrupted while you're reading it, you're immediately annoyed with whoever interrupted you. You do not want to put it down. I've reread it. I'm in like my 3rd reading, and what's funny is it is a short read to me, and yet I'm finding stuff that I missed. I'm like, I don't remember reading that.
You know, one of the most amazing things that's happened with the book, particularly, is the minutia of people come up to me and they talk about what kind of amp were you using on Crimson and Clover, or what kind of guitar did you play, before you could afford a Fender, and when I tell them a Silvertone guitar from Sears and Roebuck was what we started out with, or what kind of mics did you use, and all the I remember the gold jackets that you first came out with.
Now, see, that would be more my question, but the other one's for musicians. Obviously, the people that are savvy in the industry and are musicians, those are the questions they would think about. They're
That's
looking
right.
at
Well,
it.
in the movie, we're going to really take a lot of care with really giving the correct equipment.
Yep.
We want to really make it valid. For example, when we go into the studio, we want the actual machines that were there.
Wow, that's going to be cool.
The Altec 604E speakers and the amps that we actually used and things like that. We want to make it as
Authentic.
realistic as we
Yeah,
can.
very authentic. So again, Me, the Mob, and the Music, and I believe if you go to Tommy's site, correct me if I'm wrong here, Tommy, but I believe you can get yourself an autograph
You
copy.
can get it there. We'll autograph it. You can get it at Amazon or wherever books are sold, Barnes & Noble, any place.
Many choices, but the autograph version comes right from Tommy. So
Yes, indeed.
that's probably where you might want to look first, and what a great Christmas gift as we're at that
Well,
time
thank
of year.
you for the plug.
As well. It's always a great book to read. Be my third reading. So back to a happy note here while we still got some time. Again, with Christmas, it's I Love Christmas with Tommy James. It's that time of year. And the album
This is the album we put out. We actually had the single out several years ago, and then the album has come out more recently. We basically, it was a labor of love. I really loved making this album, and we spent a lot of time. I produced it with Jimmy Wisner, who is an old dear friend who. We started making records back with I Think We're Alone now, back in the 60s.
Wow.
That's how far we go back. And so it's got the old team is on the record, and I really think you'll enjoy it. So I hope you enjoy it.
Well, I do, and of course, I've told people a big thing with us is the tree lighting ceremony at our house. So that's what's playing in the background.
Believe it.
Great thing to
Christmas
decorate.
is so special. It has been my whole life, and I'm glad I can share it a little bit. And if you come to you can get vinyl too. If not in the stores, you can get them. I think they're in Walmart this year, but if not, you can get them from the website.
What a treat.
too.
Tommy, can you believe it? Our time has come and gone once again.
It's unbelievable. we did all right. We crammed as much into a half hour.
We
as you
did what we
do.
could. My friend, I can't thank you enough again for calling and taking some time with us. And you have a
Great
great
talking
Christmas.
with you.
Great Christmas to the family and friends.
Thank you so much.
Okay, now we'll talk to you soon. Thanks,
Bye-bye
Tommy.
now.
Bye-bye. There you go, folks. One of the legends, Tommy James of the Shondells. Remember, it's I Love Christmas here at Bullseye Radio. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you again next time. Brand new show. CB Townsley saying good night, everybody.
Thank you very much. A friend of mine is here who wrote one of my biggest hits. Ladies and gentlemen, Tommy James. Oh, don't hardly know her, but I think I could love her. Crimson and clover. No when she comes walking over, oh, I'm waiting to show. Crimson and clover. Over and over. new feeling. Crimson and clover.